All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Always Almost There, day after show live. We are here. We are very, very excited to talk about last night in Atlanta. How are you guys doing today?
Doing all right.
Very well, thank you.
Very
How are
good.
you?
That's good. I'm great. I'm great. Before we get started, as usual, just want to let you guys know about our sponsor, which is Evergio Wellness. Evergio functional mushrooms are here to help right now, whether you are gearing up for a show, going to sleep afterwards, or recovering and restoring the day after. With a wide range of health benefits, Evergio mushrooms help you make the most out of the moment through the ancient healing properties in their highly potent fruiting bodies. The organic certified therapeutic potency and their planet positive refill system are two of the many standout reasons that Evergio is my choice supplement. Be clear, chill, balanced, energized, protected, focused, and calm in the moment with Evergio mushrooms. Use code STORMSOUND15 for 15% off your order, which ships anywhere in the US and Canada. So, pretty solid Saturday night heater last night, if I do say so myself, in hot Atlanta, if you will.
Yeah, I'm a little bummed that we don't have a special guest today because I'd like to hear a little bit more about this venue, the area and things like that. It's a cool looking place. I think that some people were sharing some concerns about the sound. Others were saying that they found a sweet spot inside where the sound was good. So maybe tomorrow we'll be able to catch up with somebody who was at these shows and give us a little bit more of the kind of on-site perspective. But yeah, show-wise, Saturday night, high energy show, some good jams that we'll dig into. Overall, I think that the tour kind of keeps, it's moving in the right direction. Each night kind of seems to be getting a little bit better. So good stuff.
Yeah, I caught as much of it as I could last night after getting home from the Eggy show, and then I listened to some of it before I went in.
I was going to say, you did webcast some while you were at the Eggy show.
And I didn't do any listening at set break because set breaks coincided. But it was nice to actually have like a stream to listen to on the way to the show and on the drive home. So, yeah.
It was good. I'm glad. Show. Yeah, I'm glad we were talking before the show about based on the 7 o'clock show time, like maybe curfew's 11. And so we were a little worried about the 8 o'clock start, but it seems that curfew was 11:30 or later. So it was good. We got a nice full show last night. I think, Brian, you'll have the actual timing of the show, but I think this definitely felt longer than both nights at Richmond.
Yeah, 162 minutes versus 149 and 146, I think, from Richmond. So
okay, yeah.
And that makes a difference, there's not a huge variance in these set times often, but that, an extra 10, 12, 15 minutes, it makes a difference.
It really does. Really does. I was so happy when they opened with this Atlas Dogs, especially because, we talked about it on the pod the last couple of days about how much we love the original version of the song and how much we want to hear it in more regular rotations. This was great. Would have liked to see a jam on it, but as we discussed, also not every amazing song needs to have a huge jam on it every single time.
Yeah, I think we were talking about this late last night. What was it? 14 songs they played last night.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a product of a couple things, right? Is the length of the show, right? If you get another 12 minutes, you get, well, ostensibly one song, maybe two out of the deal. But, you have these tunes that are great. Atlas Dogs is awesome. It doesn't need to be 18 minutes when they play it, just so they can get it into the set list and, have folks hear it.
Yeah. And then, All I Need, shorter on this one, no second jam, but really packed a lot of heat into a little bit of time here, as All I Needs tend to do. Really, really solid stuff here. Great playing from Rick. Very precise.
Very precise. Yeah, I thought it was good. This is the last tune that I heard before I went into the show last night, and I was all fired up. Pretty short as far as All I Needs go. Kind of disappointing to end All I Need and go into a cover right after, but it's all good.
Yeah, that was a really. I mean, yeah, we went the second jam, of course, but that was a really solid first jam. That probably actually fed into my disappointment a little bit because that first jam was so solid. I thought maybe we were in for, for something extra special. But we got something extra special. Instead of the All I Need second jam, we got the Electric Avenue cover, which it's a fun song. I've always liked it. It's a good song.
But also, it's the 5th Electric Avenue of the year, and they've still only played The Way It Is once.
That's a great
point.
I think this is going to be a topic we get to on every pod until they play The Way It Is again.
Yeah. I'm shocked a little bit that that's the most covered tune of the year is Electric Avenue, right? I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I don't think anything even comes close.
Well, it's the only cover to get 5 plays,
right.
But Don't Do It, Fish in the Sea, and Shama have 4 plays,
right.
And I'm Writing a Novel has 4 plays as well. So yeah, there's a handful right on its heels, but like Ryan said, there's some really good ones with 1 play. So we'll hopefully start to balance that out a little bit for the remainder of the year.
Yeah. But, we're getting, there was a little bit of some cool synth stuff from Peter in this Electric Avenue, the Prophet kind of getting a little bit more use. I will say Peter was a little bit low in the mix on the webcast for most of the show last night. So hopefully he gets a little boost coming tonight. Would really, really love to hear more of what he's doing because, new synths are interesting.
Yeah.
New synths.
Ryan in the chat asked about Mississippi Half Step. So that's on 3, one of many, many on 3 as well.
Yeah. And then next we got Bob Don Without. Shout out to Kev, who's not here today. We haven't had a with since March.
Yeah, it might not even be a thing anymore. I mean, maybe it's something that they just briefly did, right? We were talking about it yesterday where, for like a brief period, Jive 2 plays, but had like a bonus jam slapped on the end of it. And maybe that's it. Maybe it was just kind of a, winter tour thing and it's all over with. I don't know.
I think it's coming back. I think it will.
I
wanted to.
We're all there together. We're going to get a Bob Don with.
Just got to send those messages to Coach.
Oh, yeah.
Just get in the DMs.
Another big tumble.
Yeah.
They're just really, I just really like what they're doing with the, not super extended, but not, Sans Jam either. You know what I mean? So they're kind of hitting that 16, 17, 18 minute sweet spot with, good high energy stuff. I mean, it's, this one was, I don't know if it's going to light the Jam of the Year list on fire, but I'm going to take a look at it again over the next few days and give it some more listens. We're still waiting on the soundboards from last night. So, I haven't really been able to give these as many release lists as I would have liked this morning, but, I'm sure Peter's pretty busy. So, you can't get them all out at 10 a.m. the next day, but
for those of you who don't know, after the show, Peter, encroached on Brian's territory a little bit and posted the set list and Coach's notes on Twitter, which is usually his thing. So might be a little bit of heat today.
Well, we don't know if that was Peter. You know what I mean?
You're right. Could have been Coach. Could have been someone else. But
Coach got on the Twitter. That tumble was hot. When I got out of the show, I texted you guys and I was like, what should I listen to? And Jive was like, Tumble first, and then, all the way through to Dripfield.
We did say, I think also, poking fun at you because you weren't watching the show, but we did say that partway through the jam, we were like, oh, this is definitely better than Peach.
It's definitely better than Peach. Yeah, no, I'd say that. That's probably true. But yeah, man, I at one point was just driving way too fast on my way home from the show, and it was just because I was so into the song. So yeah, this one's hot. I loved it.
It was good. And then, late set 1, Silver Rising, another thing we've talked about that we really like to see. I do think,
it's a great idea. It was a great idea.
It was a great idea. Momentum of the set did let up a little bit here, but I think, I love Silver Rising, so I'm very happy with it here. And then Animal. I think this might be my favorite Animal now.
And we got the the Silver Rising Animal pairing, which I hadn't previously thought of. That's good stuff.
Do we have enough songs that we could get a full Animal set now? I think so.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't. Yeah.
Creatures.
I don't know. I do like the flow of this set though. At the end, where you kind of have like you have Tumble, then Silver Rising, kind of like a little bit slower, and then Animal Dance to kind of close it off. It's just fire.
Yeah, look, I don't want to.
Good.
Yeah, no, that it really is, and the flow was really. I mean, look, not to go back and hammer down on Electric Avenue, but if you get the second All I Need jam there, maybe instead of Electric Avenue, and just I can't help it, but if I'm looking at that set list, then I'm thinking, wow, that's a super hot set. So I mean, I guess for me, but we'll talk about this all the time with the covers and versus originals.
What ifs all the time. What's interesting too is that they stuck 100% to their written set list last night. No audibles, no changes,
which is it's rare, not equally due to audibles as it is due to time constraints.
Right.
And so you don't see that every day. So yeah, it was interesting to see that. So good for them for timing all that out correctly. That's good stuff.
So
and it's funny.
Back for them.
Yeah. Good job by them. And so I think during Dripfield, I almost kind of feel like they were cognizant of how much time they had. You know what I mean? Like I almost feel like I haven't rewatched it, but I thought, and I don't want to do the whole Dripfield review right now because it's a sick version.
Mm-hmm.
But before they started that really awesome kind of final outro jam where Rick did some really cool kind of finger picking, rhythmic kind of soloing. He went before that. Before they kind of launched into that, I feel like he went to the secret mic, and it's not secret, but the band mic, and so I kind of felt like I was wondering what was going to happen after that. I was like, oh, do they need to rush into something else, but I almost feel like what happened was he was saying, hey boys, let's take this out there a little bit further because we got time, so that's good stuff. I mean, that time management comes in many forms. And they definitely, to your point, nailed it. Set list wise.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And I mean, you got ahead of us a little bit going to the Drip, but Peter, you could tell not only based on the sing-alongs that were audible from the crowd, but the way Peter went into set break, being like, whoa, like crazy, you could tell the crowd was amped last night.
Then you sounded loud, like real loud. That's one thing that I picked up on in the car. I was like, this is crazy. But I don't know if that's the acoustics of the place or what.
Saturday night in Atlanta.
I can't wait to see pictures from inside that place. Because I imagine like Getty lit the roof up in that place big time. Because it's like, this huge, like kind of cavernous space. Which, probably that's where the sound issues come from. But from like a visual perspective, I imagine it's pretty sweet.
Yeah. So then we come out of set break. Everything Must Go, debut of a new original song, not Steely Dan or Brothers Past tune.
Brothers Past tune.
People were asking about it. I think there was someone on Facebook and someone on Twitter who did. Interesting tune, very, very lighthearted, kind of have like the magical and love motifs in the lyrics.
Yeah, too much love for Chop, that's for sure.
Yeah.
He
commented on how Rick has already reached the writing late era Tab songs part of his career.
Yeah. So Yeah, I need to give this one some re-listens.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was good. I thought it was good, but I wasn't blown away by it. But oftentimes I need to let this new stuff settle in a little bit. What I do appreciate, just on a side note, is that Rick announced before the song that it was a new song. So
Yeah.
I really appreciate that, because otherwise, they start playing something I've never heard, and
Lost.
I'm in full scramble mode, Googling lyrics. And nothing's worse than like Googling the lyrics of a song that's being debuted right now, because Google's not going to help you.
Yeah.
But it's going to pull up all kinds of rap songs with like similar lyrics, and I know that that's probably not what they're covering. So, but no, anyway, I'm just joking. But yeah, I like, kind of similar to earlier in the year, just coming out, opening up set 2 with a new song. So who knows? Maybe we'll see some more new songs on these upcoming shows, which is always welcome.
Always.
The bullets that Jive Goose takes for everybody. See, this is what's going on behind the scenes. You just got a glimpse of what's happening at Jive Goose headquarters. New song is just like all kinds of shit happening, just trying to figure out what's going on. And then you don't even get to hear the song. You got to go like re-listen to it.
Shout out to
you,
Sam
man.
King, who helped out with the name of the song as they were playing it last night. Thank you, Sam. Much appreciated.
I saw that. Well, I just wanted to talk about the song for a second.
Oh, yeah.
I saw the hate before I heard the song. Chop's
hate's a strong word.
Yeah, I mean, it's Chop, whatever. So
slight disdain, maybe.
Yeah, I guess. So like I had some preconceived notions going into like listening to the tune, and then like I listened to it, I was like, oh, this is pretty good. But I think my kind of in the moment thoughts were, if you think about like debuts that already happened this year, like when they play Pancakes for the first time, nailed it, like absolutely nailed it. This one feels like, I don't know, like it was like kind of rushed to the table. Like I wonder how old this song is, because it didn't feel as tight as say like Silver Rising when it was debuted this year. I don't know. So would be interested to find that out, if it's even possible to find that out when that was written. So
yeah,
onward.
No, interesting point there for sure. I think that they take a chance debuting songs, and as we've seen, like they'll debut a song before they're 100% sure on all of it. Like when they debuted California Magic in March. They'd been talking about it soundcheck. Rick had been like, they were playing it, and he was like, oh, I don't know if we'll play this tonight. Like maybe I'll add another bridge, or play around with some verses and stuff. And then they played it because they were like, whatever. And then they ended up adding that like ascending riff thing at the end before the final chorus. And so and Atlas Dogs has had different forms, and so Silver Rising has also had different forms. Like they'll throw something out there, see how it feels live with a crowd. And then they'll maybe play around on it, which is also really cool for a band to do. I feel like there aren't many bands out there that will do that. They're not going to, feel comfortable going out there and playing a song that they're not 100% sure on and then changing part of said song.
And to be fair, they're batting like, 987 on these debuts. So
Yeah, really, really strong debuts this year. We've actually had we had 3 of those debuts in the first set. 2022 songs, which is crazy because Neil, you mentioned just before we got on that last night was the 60th show of the year.
60
which
shows.
is nuts. Like that's a lot of shows, and so it feels like a song like Atlas Dogs and Silver Rising, which were both debuted right at the beginning of Winter Tour. That feels like forever ago.
It absolutely
55
does.
shows ago, like, and Animal was debuted in June, but that still even feels like a while ago.
I mean, well, they played it a ton.
Yeah. And
so it's less than a 3-show gap on that tune. It's close to 2.
Yeah. And that song, these songs already feel so ingrained in the Goose catalog, and something like Silver Rising, like is such an amazing top tier Goose song for me now. And, could have been around for years.
Yeah. And well, that one has just gotten bigger and bigger over time too, right? Yeah. Which I think, kind of goes along with what I was saying earlier. Like, I can't wait to see what happens with this tune, because like, there's no way this is the final form of the song. Maybe, structure wise it is, but like parts will be beefed up, singing parts will improve, stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So after Everything Must Go, we get Creatures, nice dance party. Creatures, the crowd really, really loved the Shama that it got into. Creatures
They
has
always
that
do.
now usual amazing vintage vibe jam from Peter. So great stuff there. Shama was fun, kept the energy high. I personally would have preferred 5 more minutes of Creatures jam, personally, but
Well, yeah, I agree. but
do you?
but also this Creatures, we did get a few more minutes than we normally would when we get the either the Shama or the Kylie coming out of Creatures. They usually kind of pull the trigger on that stuff fairly quickly. So I still have this Creatures at around 16 minutes. So I mean, and it's a pretty good jam.
Yeah.
I'm definitely I did not get a chance to get back to this yet today. But in the moment, I remember thinking, that was, even with the segue into Shama, I was still pretty happy with that Creatures.
Yeah.
This is a lot of folks talking about Brothers Past these past couple days. I hadn't thought of the band in like forever, and I think Captain Incredible brought it up, and yeah, here we go.
Who knows, man? I think a Tom Hamilton vocal range would fit Rick. I think it would. And then, after Shama, they took the opportunity to congratulate Jeff on his 121st show with the band, which is crazy that, this was the 60th show of the year, and we also trust that number is accurate.
I don't know if I do.
But going off of that theoretical number, it means that like half the shows that Jeff has played with Goose have been in 2022, which is crazy to think about, how much less they were able to play in 2020 and 2021. But
I mean, I think we were talking about this at the beginning of Winter Tour when, it's just like, it's funny, like all the things that have happened since COVID, but like we were really excited at the start of Winter Tour because there was like, for the first time in what felt like forever, there was like a really long stretch of dates where they were just going to go out and play like a whole ton of shows.
Yeah.
And there was excitement around the fact that like, this is like an opportunity for them to grow and improve. And like, there's no better practice than going out there and just playing jams every night. Right.
Yeah. Jeff only played 16 shows in 2020.
Right.
Yeah. And then, so there was only, like less than 50 shows in 2021.
Yeah. 40, 44, 45.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's
That's why awesome. I keep looking at my Jam of the Year playlist, and I'm looking at like, the bottom 10 or 15 jams, and like, realizing that those probably aren't going to be on there by the end of the year, and being like, wow, like there are so many shows this year. So many jams. Like it's going to be, when we get that bracket out in January and we see what's not on there, it's
going to be a lot of angry people. We've been talking about this.
It's going to be, last year, I think there was a list of like 7 or 8 jams that was like, I wish those could have been on it. This year, I feel like that's going to be like 20 or 30 long.
I think 30 is pretty reasonable. Yeah.
I think we'll get more, with respect to like the crowd seating approach. I think we'll get a lot more, involvement in that, than we ever did before. So that'll also help, kind of, well, you can't just blame us. You know what I mean? Like if you're crowd seating this thing,
yeah,
hey, you gotta share the blame, but seriously, yeah, there's so many, same with like looking at top 10 shows. I mean, there's just so many good shows. There's so many good jams. I mean, it's kind of an embarrassment of riches, I guess, for us this year. So, which is awesome. And which we expected, you know what I mean? We talked about that at the beginning of the year also, just, how important it's going to be to keep your playlist updated throughout the year, because otherwise it would just be impossible to even now go back and just try to take all that in at once and make sense of it,
Mm-hmm. I'm very glad that you got me doing that at the beginning of the year. It's been much easier to put it together.
I'm actually nervous. Like right now, 3 shows into Fall Tour. Like I need to go back and because I feel like there's at least 2 or 3 things that need to be really strongly considered already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, let's keep talking about the second set here. This Arcadia, really solid. Not crazy long, but just like blazing. Gets into this really fast rock and jam in there, and then explodes into the ending. But just really really solid Arcadia. Another really, I think there was a good sing along here as well from the crowd.
Yeah, really unique jam too. I mean, it's I don't know exactly what to compare it to or what to refer to the style as, but it was unique for sure.
Mm-hmm. Rage Cadia.
Yeah, I mean, went out there and did what Arcadia does, man. It's killer too. One of the best.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And then nice cool down. 726. Amazing second set landing pad. As we've talked about, I love this song so much, and I think it pairs so well with Dripfield. I think that's a really, really great way to close the second set, especially, you touched on it earlier, Brian, where they went in this Dripfield, but really, really phenomenal way to close out the set.
Yeah, man. I've listened to this Dripfield 3 times already, and the show's like not even like 24 hours old yet. I mean, the funny thing about Dripfield, I think we got like one version in Cleveland that was like pretty great and kind of different than other Dripfields. And then there was like a stretch of like Dripfields that just sounded like other Dripfields.
Yeah.
And I feel like I saw like 5 of them live, and I was just like, oh, like Dripfield again, like, because you're getting that same thing that you always get. And I mean, this is a problem that you have only when you go to too many Goose shows. You're like, oh, I'm hearing, Hot Tea for like the 5th time already this year, like.
Well, I agree with that one.
Yeah, well, you know what I'm saying. So like, it just like felt like too much Dripfield or too much of like the same, I guess. And then this one is I think the first one since New Haven that feels drastically different than others. And man, it's really good. And I'm probably going to listen to it again, like right after we record. Because I'm excited about it. This one I think definitely has a place in my playlist and like decently high. But yeah, that's what I got to say about that Drip. It's kick-ass.
Yeah. Maybe Peter has dropped soundboards since we went live. You never know.
Sure hope so.
Yeah, I loved it. I think Dripfield is definitely underutilized as like a jam vehicle in that sense. Like it kills every time, even if it's just like 14 minutes of Dripfield. But yeah, using it in this kind of sense, like this one, I think might make my playlist. I only have one other Dripfield on there right now, which is Cleveland. But this one is just really, really awesome.
I think if Cleveland gets on your playlist, this one's got to be on your playlist now.
Yeah, I think so.
But like, you need a day or two to kind of let this thing sink in too. Mm-hmm. Who knows? Yeah. I don't want to get too fired up about it, but I liked it.
Yeah, and let's get back to that in a minute. Just in terms of kind of just where we're at after these 3 shows and some of the jams that we do feel pretty good about. We got the Slow Ready encore.
Mm-hmm.
Got kicked off the list the night before, right? So not a huge surprise.
Still no Echo.
No Echo was probably more of a surprise, but
some of us thought it wasn't coming.
How did you do in fantasy last night, Brian? How have these 3 shows been for you?
I hit more songs last night than I've hit in any single show of this tour.
Okay, but is that
so? I feel like you know what I mean. Like the stock is rising.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, looking forward to tonight. I think feeling really good about my picks.
Yeah.
Can't talk about him yet because Neil's slacking on his today. But feeling pretty good. I'm looking forward to hopefully some big points tonight. We'll see. These guys are always surprising us. So
come at me, Jive Goose. It's
Hey,
feeling good.
Like putting up big points in the night is like really hard to do. Only some of the best players do it.
How many points did you get last night?
Like when it happens, it's like really something we should talk about because it's like a pretty
Yeah.
exciting thing when somebody knows the band so well that they rip off 30 points in Fantasy Goose and blow everybody out of the water. But
No, yeah. I mean, the only thing that would have made it cooler is if you would have actually been there watching the show with us and not out seeing some bar band.
hey man,
no, I'm not out here to take shots at anybody. That I was trying to take a shot at you, and I didn't mean to take a shot at.
Eggy just got caught in the crossfire.
But, yeah, they got
no hate.
It's collateral damage. Sorry, Eggy, I got nothing against you. But yeah, I mean, we would have loved to have had you on, throughout the night because I'm sure, it would never have gotten old, hearing you talk about your score.
I think it actually went really well because you guys carried the conversation on without me, which was just wonderful. I had like Ryan taking shots at everybody on my behalf. So I mean, doesn't get any better than that.
I did pretty well last night. I got 19.
I think a lot of people did really well.
I'm going up. I got two. I hit 2 songs the first night, 3 songs the second night, and 4 songs last night. So I'm ready for 5 tonight. Yeah,
you know what's funny is I feel really good about you can take a look at what's possible for them to play tonight, and you're like, oh yeah, see how the show's gonna go. Bet you $1 million it doesn't go anywhere near what we think it's gonna be, right? Which I mean, we can talk about the things that I think they might play tonight, right? Like Rockdale feels like almost certain they're going to play it tonight, right?
Hey, look, I think honestly, tonight's probably going to be one of the easiest nights, in my opinion, because we're not yet going to see anything repeated.
Yeah, and we're
most likely
show,
right? But the pool's been depleted, right?
Yeah.
And so I think tonight's going to actually be among the easier nights. I'm expecting lots of high points tonight.
But also, see, it could go either way, also depending on which way the majority of people pick, because also, the band now is expanding their song pool to the point where, 4 nights in, there's not there's only, 10 originals left really that you can pick from.
But
there's a lot more.
Well, and also remember Winter Tour where there were several songs that got 2 show rest to start that tour.
Yeah.
So I mean, take a look back at those 2 show gap songs, and you might get 2 or 3 of them.
I don't see more than I don't see more than 1 repeat tonight, and I would probably bet 0. But
yeah, and then
as we've seen, Brian may not be the best source of prediction for this tour so far. So
I mean, I think as reigning champion,
take his with a grain of salt.
The people are going to want to hear it. You know what I mean? And even Neil as reigning, back-to-back runner-up, there's people respect that as well. You know what I mean? Not as much as reigning champ, but I mean, pretty close.
I mean, let's give a shout out to Kev, who's not here today, who's absolutely crushing it in fantasy.
He's killing it.
For those of you who don't know, Kev is usually a plays for fun kind of guy. With 8-point covers and things like that, but he is doing exceptionally well.
It burns within all the time.
8-point burns within. I mean, I think Kevin, in the plays for fun perspective, just plays to troll us with his picks, and he just he lives for the moment that he just drops his picks in the group chat. But this year, I think he's going hard. I think his strategy's changed, and I don't know. We'll ask him about it tomorrow if we get him on.
Neil, he's ahead of you right now.
He is.
Yep.
The standings right now are meaningless.
Got 49.
Yeah.
He says very low down on the list.
Oh yeah, meaningless. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm actually surprised I got as many of the songs that I did. It was pure luck. I never thought in a million years they would play, I don't know, Atlas Dogs and Silver Rising in the show. I just didn't think it was really possible.
Yeah,
I thought they would try to space those tunes out. But
and you also have a ton of high profile tunes. You have All I Need, Tumble, Creatures, and Arcadia, which are all old classic Goose tunes.
Yeah. Just get bangers every night.
Yeah, banger Saturday, man.
Well, it's hey, that's what we were talking about. You try to cast a wide net.
Yep.
So that you don't completely miss.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you completely hit. You know what I mean? So
I'm losing faith in my echo picks. This is I think the early July, like Peach and High Sierra, Echo was on like a decently large gap, and so I had it for high points. I didn't play it. They've been playing it on bigger gaps, I think, as of late. And so I keep putting it for high points when it gets to like a 6 or 7 show gap, and it's not paying off.
Well, it's just weird that they're not playing Echo right now. Fantasy Goose aside, like it's one of their best songs, and they're not playing it. And it's interesting. I'm sure as an artist, like after a while, like this thing that you're constantly playing all the time, you just like look at it and it's like,
maybe something else.
Throw it to the side for a little bit. And it feels like that's what's happening with that song, and it might be what's happening with California Magic right now. They're not playing it. I mean, they're not playing for a really, really long time.
How long has it been?
It's like 7 or 8 shows.
It's 7 or 8. Yeah. I think it might be 8 tonight. Let's see here.
Last play. Oh yeah, they haven't played it since the Greek. That's 8 shows ago.
Yeah. So there you go. And it would be nice if they played that one again. I love that tune in set lists. And
it did have an 8 show gap from Radio City to Dylan. So it's not a brand new thing in the song's history. But yeah, definitely, looking at the other gaps in the song, the highest was 4. And it's been played 10 times. So
yeah,
I would be surprised if we don't see that tonight. That feels like a very Sunday, opener maybe.
While we're talking about what we think they might play tonight, I think you're going to get like a bunch of. I have like a gut feeling that like songs that like are pretty rare are going to come out tonight. So I think you might see something like Your Ocean tonight, or you
Jeff
might see
Engborg, please.
Maybe something like Engborg, or maybe like This Old Sea. Like tonight feels like the night for This Old Sea. I'm not picking it, but it just I just feel like that's a song that's due, and like this is the type of show that it comes out in. This is a night like tonight.
Yeah, I can see it. And it's tonight is the end of the first 4 show run of the tour. They've got a break tomorrow night, no show. Then they're in St. Louis, and then another break. So yeah, this is like the end of the first weekend. Maybe we see some more unique set list picks, but I'm excited to see whatever it is. I'm ready for it. I love 4 consecutive nights of Goose webcasts. Very, very excited, and I see them live in 6 days.
It's we just get like a daily countdown on Ryan's days.
I'm excited, man. I'm very excited.
You should put like maybe a little sign back there behind you on like days till my next
Goose.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll have that tomorrow.
All right, cool.
Very cool.
All right, guys. Should we wrap it?
I think it's a good spot to wrap it. I believe we will be joined by guests tomorrow who can fill us in on all the ins and outs of Pullman Yards and the weekend's shows. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Don't forget, if you are seeing shows this fall, this tour to Goose or New Year's, please reach out on socials or send us an email at aatgoosepod@gmail.com. We would love to have you on, fill in the tour, get some firsthand accounts of what's going on at the shows for when we're not there.
It's way more fun to have somebody on.
Absolutely. We talk all the time, just us. We want to hear from other people too.
Yeah. Well, no, like there are things that are, I'd love to hear about from the show tonight. For example, and Jive touched on it. Like, what was the venue like? What did it sound like?
Exactly.
I think there was like a lot of people talking
lines
about like VIP was like disappointing for some, but some people like. I mean, I don't know. Like, there's so many like aspects of the show that we just don't get on the stream. So it'll be great to have people on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well, all right, everybody. Have a fantastic rest of your Sunday afternoon. Enjoy the show tonight, and we will see you back here